Enjoy the warm temperatures because cooler conditions are on the way as we head into the start of the weekend. We're on your side with how cool we're expecting it to get and what we're tracking as we head into March.
And we bring you the weather extra when we typically see our last frost before those warmer months.
Plus, we're sharing your lovely photos you sent in to us through social media or the First Alert weather app as you enjoy this beautiful sunny day.
Live on your side, First Alert Weather Extra starts right now.
And right now, breaking in the Birmingham area, it's a brush fire. It's actually in Center Point, and it's growing up to 6 acres. And it started due to an abandoned house fire and spread quickly. You're seeing some of those scenes here, causing those to evacuate their homes in that area. So once again, another day where we're dealing with fires across parts of our area, which of course this was started with that fire in that home there, the abandoned house. But yesterday we had wildfires over in East Alabama. I noticed today some more reports even around Cherokee County of a fire happening, and I know it's kind of a surprise because we just had all the rain here recently.
Right. And, you know, it's just a testament to you can get some rain, but if that soil is really dry and the air is still relatively dry, I mean, that's just a recipe for disaster sometimes.
Yeah. And, you know, it was so windy. It's kind of like a hair dryer out there. When you have windy conditions, it's amazing how quickly it can really dry things out. And that's what we're talking about right now, those fire weather conditions that we have across our area. During the day, each day, those relative humidity levels drop off. Let's go to the graphics here. And I just want to show you where that one fire is located. Again, this is in the Center Point area, but this is the drought monitor, and you can see we still have areas that are in drought across parts of Alabama. And even though we had 2-3 inches of rain with last couple systems that moved through, keep in mind we had some frigid Arctic air. We also had those very low dew points, so it was extra crispy out there, and we dried out in a hurry. So it didn't take long for those dangerous fire weather conditions to develop. Looking at the smoke plume forecast, you can see that the wind directions carrying from some of these hot spots and where we've had some fires, some controlled burns across the state, carrying that off to the north and east direction. But notice tomorrow the transport winds are going to shift because we are going to have more of a north wind developing later in the day. But just checking in on some of those fire weather conditions across Alabama. But a cold front is on the way tomorrow. It may squeeze out a shower, some breezy conditions, and I'm watching next week for the possibility of some heavier rain and storms by the middle of the week. Still some questions on whether we'll see a risk for severe weather. I'm going to talk a lot more about that coming up in the 10-day forecast. But let's get you set for tomorrow, what to expect. Afternoon temperatures in the 60s. Notice that I did put in a 20% chance for a shower there heading into midday. It's not a lot of rain with this cold front that's moving in, so we do have a small chance for a shower, but you will notice a drop in temperatures tomorrow night. We'll see some upper 30s in many areas by Friday morning. So as we've been saying, don't put away the long sleeves. That wind out of the northwest at about 10 to 15 later tomorrow. So it's still going to be breezy, and for a lot of us, we will stay dry during the day. But a lot that we're going to be talking about, including your weekend forecast, the possibility of a light freeze in some areas early Sunday morning, and of course a lot more on that threat for storms next week. I'll see you back here with the 10-day forecast.
And we're going to take you now to East Alabama, where people in Calhoun County are back in their homes after having to evacuate after last night's wildfires. Firefighters continue to monitor for hot spots, but forestry officials say that the fire quickly grew from 10 acres to more than 200 last night. Emergency responders went door to door to make sure everyone was safe and able to get to where they needed to be during the mandatory evacuation. Alicia Ballantyne with the Alabama Forestry Commission says multiple fire agencies helped forestry crews contain the fire late into the night. Neighbors like Robert Frazier say they were impressed by the quick response and professionalism of their officers.
When they appeared in our driveway and started doing what they needed to do, we didn't go nowhere. So they had forestry bulldozers in there cutting fire breaks and everything, and so we could see the glow, but we weren't worried because they were doing what they were supposed to do.
Valentine says the cause of the fire is currently under investigation. Well, let's take a look now at those temperatures over the next couple of days, because Wes was mentioning some possible cold weather as we approach your early Sunday. So let's talk about the warm first, okay? Before we start talking about the cold, let's talk about the warm. We're still dealing with some pretty decent afternoons, and even Sunday might struggle to reach 60 degrees, but 50s aren't terrible. We're seeing some warm conditions though through the rest of this week, mid to upper 60s, 70s by Saturday. Again, a drop in temps as we bring in Sunday, but more 70s next Tuesday and Wednesday. Those are high temperatures, but here are those lows. This is where it gets colder. Those evenings, those late night hours, and those early mornings. We're noticing our average is around 41, and we're right around average Friday and Saturday, but we're slightly below average Sunday and into Monday of next week as some cold air moves in. But we will see some warmer temperatures, in those overnight hours into the middle of next week as we anticipate our next rain chance. But as we prepare to see cooler weather and cooler temps for your weekend, meteorologist Megan Thomas joins us now with the weather extra on when we typically see that final frost across central Alabama.
The past couple of days have felt like spring, but we are officially 22 days away from the spring equinox on March 20th, right at 4:01 a.m. Meteorological spring happens this weekend on March 1st. Now, don't forget, we typically get 1 or 2 more frost through the spring season. According to the Farmer's Almanac in Tuscaloosa, March 25th, that's typically your last frost. And then even in Birmingham, March 30th, and then those of you in Anniston, right around March 31st. So don't go planting anything just yet, even though it feels like you should, because there's always that 1 or 2 more frost this season.
Thanks, Megan. And across the country, as meteorological spring arrives, as Megan said, this Saturday, many states are preparing to see a weekend of strong to severe storms. Check out this map of the places expected to see the potential for severe weather. The threat beginning Sunday as damaging winds and large hail could move across Oklahoma and Texas, while another storm system will follow quickly behind, impacting places from Louisiana all the way to Mississippi and parts of Tennessee. So on that note, we have been talking about giving you that first alert for the possibility of maybe some strong to severe storms in our neck of the woods next Wednesday. Now, this severe outlook that I'm showing you, it says Wednesday. We're focusing on Wednesday, but this is actually for next Tuesday. So the Storm Prediction Center is highlighting, and this agrees with our forecast, that we're already seeing the potential for some strong to severe storm development next Tuesday across Mississippi, Louisiana, Arkansas, and into Texas. So this is showing there's a 15% chance that in this area we could see the possibility of severe weather developing. So the question is, once we get into Wednesday, would that risk to our west translate farther to the east? So it's something we're going to be watching and continuing to analyze the data as it comes in over the next several days. But we'll certainly be watching for anything like a tornado threat, damaging wind threat, possibility of flooding. Let's look at those severe ingredients that we often analyze when we try to determine if there will be a severe threat. So here we are looking at next Tuesday morning at 6 a.m. And this is showing us the wind shear in the atmosphere, the difference either in the horizontal or vertical wind speed as you go up in height, if it could change wind speed or direction, and then also storm fuel, that energy we need to make storms more robust. So you'll notice the blue showing up here from the Gulf stretching into Texas. That indicates possibly some storm fuel early Tuesday morning off to our west, but then it intensifies as we get that daytime heating. So here we are at 2 o'clock on Tuesday. Possibility of seeing storms developing in East Texas, and then that threat shifts westward. But as we go forward in time into Wednesday, it looks like it could potentially become pinched off in our neck of the woods. But we're going to keep a close eye on it. Things can change. In 30 seconds, we continue to talk about your Thursday forecast and take you beyond the atmosphere to NASA's newest mission that'll showcase the wonders of color in space. We'll be right back.
And welcome back to Weather Extra. How about a check on that weekend forecast? Making plans coming up Saturday. It looks like a dry day up to 70 degrees. Sunday, though, there's another cold front that impacts the state this weekend. We're not seeing a lot of rain, or well, no rain with it, but we are seeing a noticeable drop in temperatures. Tania and I were talking about Sunday morning. Might see a light freeze in some areas to the north there, showing around 36 degrees. You can see 60 for the afternoon and winds out of the north direction. Of course, as Lauren was talking about with that threat of storms next week, I'm going to have a lot more on that as well as a 10-day forecast. But right now, let's see what's happening beyond the atmosphere.
Yeah, Wes. Well, our friends from NASA are going beyond the atmosphere as usual, where they're embarking on a new mission. It's 2 rockets and 1 launch to understand the bigger picture of our universe. Tomorrow, NASA will be launching the Sphere X, and then the following day, the Punch rockets to understand the cosmos. I spoke with Dr. John Wisniewski, who shares the latest. So talking about this really incredible mission, Sphere X will join NASA's fleet of missions looking at the cosmos. What are some of the biggest mysteries that scientists hope Sphere X will unlock?
Yeah, sure. So NASA's Sphere X mission is going to address 3 really big questions in the astrophysics division. The first is, what is the origin of our universe? It's a pretty big question. So it's going to be going after inflation physics and what happened in the initial fraction of a second after the universe was created. The second big question that Sphere X will help address is how do galaxies form and evolve over time? And the third key question that Sphere X is going to tackle is, how did water get delivered from the interstellar medium to stars and eventually to planets? So what's the how is water delivered throughout the local galaxy?
That sounds like really important work to better understand. So how will Sphere X complement the impressive work done already by both Webb and Hubble?
Yeah, and so NASA Astrophysics currently has a suite of about 20 missions that it's operating, and all of these missions work together to paint a coherent picture of stars and galaxies in the universe. And to make a football analogy, it's kind of like when you're sitting at home watching a football game. There are multiple cameras that are helping you watch the game, right? There's close-up views of a quarterback throwing a football to a receiver, and you're trying to see whether the receiver is inbounds or not. And there's also wider views that you get, for example, from a blimp that's showing you, the broader view of the stadium and the surrounding area of the city, right? So Sphere X is kind of like the blimp view of the universe. It's allowing us to view 450 million galaxies and over 100 million stars in 102 colors. Whereas telescopes like the James Webb Space Telescope and Hubble Space Telescope allow us to get really detailed views of individual stars and galaxies. That's like the close-up of whether that receiver is, inbounds or out of bounds when it's catching the football.
So you're talking about those different colors that you have available with this Sphere X mission. How does Sphere X look at the universe through those rainbow-colored glasses? What exactly does that mean?
Right. So Sphere X is going to get a view of hundreds of millions of stars and galaxies in 102 colors in the infrared. And a great analogy, if you ever hold a prism up to outside, don't point it directly at the sun, but when you hold a prism up, you'll split sunlight into a variety of different colors, right? Red, orange, yellow, green, blue. And Sphere X is doing the equivalent thing in the infrared. Who cares? Well, these colors are telling us really important properties of these stars and the galaxies. They're telling us, how far away are these stars and galaxies? They're telling us what is the chemical composition of nearby stars. What's the composition of ices in the nearby Milky Way? And for further away galaxies, what type of galaxies are they? Are they accreting, supermassive black holes? So it's allowing us really to paint a 3D picture of the universe.
Well, it's feeling good out there tonight, 73 degrees. We have a clear sky over Birmingham. Of course, we've been talking about some of these fires happening out there. Notice the relative humidity is at 26%. The air is dry out there, and that's really bottoms out during the day, and that makes for some dangerous fire weather conditions. But as we take a look at the overall forecast tonight into tomorrow morning, we're going to have lows. This model shows 40s, but average lows are going to be right around 50 degrees. That breeze sticks around through tonight out of the south. That's showing 6 o'clock in the morning. Still chilly to start the day, but notice right here, cold front. That's the next big thing. It's moving on through tomorrow, and it's going to bring a drop in temperatures. By tomorrow night, we'll have highs in the 60s. We went with 67 tomorrow. Don't know if we'll go quite that warm, but with this front moving through, winds will pick up out of the north during the afternoon. Could gust over 10 miles per hour. Not a lot of rain with this. That's the one thing. Maybe a couple of showers, but it's mainly a dry frontal passage. But notice by this time tomorrow night, we're cooling off into the low 50s and mid 50s. It's going to feel much cooler this time tomorrow night. We're in the 70s right now, and you can see Coleman showing 52 degrees. So don't put away the long sleeves. And again, becoming windy, so you factor in that northwest wind tomorrow evening as well. That's going to add to the chill. So it's going to be like this, that seesaw pattern. We're going to see temperature rise and then another cold front move in, and that's what's going to happen Friday and Saturday. We'll start out Friday in the upper 30s, and then we'll warm up. The weekend looks dry, but there's another surge of colder air that's going to move in this weekend, and it will bring lows back down into the 30s Sunday morning, and there's a chance, some of the data came in colder today, we could see a light freeze early Sunday. Saturday looks like a beautiful day here. No clouds, highs around 70 degrees, but again, that drop in temperatures by early on Sunday. So I'm watching next week, as Lauren was talking about, the Storm Prediction Center already highlighting areas back to the west for the risk of severe storms. As for our area, I'm concerned that we could see some heavier rain, a few storms, especially to the west and southwest. The new data, though, shows less instability, which is a good sign. So it's still early, but as typical, as we go into March, we just need to keep systems like this on our radar, and we'll keep you well informed. The one thing we do know right now is we're going to have a good chance for some rain. As you can see, around Wednesday and next week, a 60% chance for showers and possibly some storms. So lots of temperature changes on the way, and then watching the middle of next week. Let's go beyond that 7-day and 10-day forecast and check in with Tania.
We're now looking at our temperature outlook March 6th through the 12th, and you can see that as we look across the states, there are some areas dealing with below average temperatures, others with above average, but us here across central Alabama, more near average. As far as our precipitation outlook, March 6th through the 12th, above average rainfall for more of our western states and far eastern states, and that could be clipping just our far eastern parts of central Alabama as we bring in the first few days of March. But here we are looking at our next chances for rain. I'm not seeing a whole lot of wet weather in the month of March, which is good if you have some plans. But I do think that next week looks a little more unsettled, and we could see some rain around by next weekend, March the 8th. Hopefully not, though. We're also seeing some dry conditions the 10th, the 11th, and possibly the 12th, seeing some increasing clouds, maybe a shower included in that. But I'm not seeing a whole lot of rain in the forecast as we approach the first few days of March. Now, can we see any more freezes? Well, I'm going to say yes to that. I do see some chances to see more freezes across the area. This is March 7th, 35 degrees. That's likely an early morning temp. And as we bring in later into March, we're talking about March the 10th, 25. So that's another hard freeze. And then possibly seeing some more 30s as we bring in March the 12th, or really beyond March the 12th. So keep in mind, more freezes are still possible across the area. You want to make sure you are keeping that heavy coat on hand just in case. But in California, bringing you those updates as they continue restoration efforts after the deadly wildfires that impacted their area. Water has been restored for nearly 2,000 Palisades residents who were impacted by those flames. Leslie Marin has the latest.
I've spent way too much of my time thinking about showers lately.
Since moving back into their Palisades home 3 weeks ago, Mother Lucia Singer and her 9-year-old son haven't been able to shower there.
We're on a shower schedule. So yeah, we go over to our friend's house, 2 or 3 times a week after sports and run in. She's so lovely. She has towels out for us, and we go in, we get our hot shower.
And while Singer is thankful most of her Rustic Canyon community was spared from the fire, life hasn't gone back to normal. from washing dishes to drinking only out of bottled water.
Boiling water in my instant tea kettle and then pouring it into a pot if said pot got a little burnt during cooking. So it was a lot of thought processes going on with everything. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I've been collecting bottles and selling them to stores to get money.
The good news for her, Singer is now one of 2,000 Palisades homeowners and businesses that LADWP announced have safe drinking water.
But until we got the okay today, that we've been cautious.
According to LADWP, the do not drink water notice was lifted Tuesday for homes and businesses in these areas, east of Temescal Canyon Road and south of Bester Boulevard. Each area had to pass a 9-step regulatory and restoration process. Homeowners we spoke to were split on whether they feel comfortable drinking the water.
It'll be our first meal tonight with water from the forest.
I don't know if I'm quite ready to drink yet.
LADWP says homeowners who are cleared to drink water should follow these steps before. Run faucets until clear, flush all toilets, drain hot water tanks, flush appliances, and flush outdoor plumbing. And while these homeowners are happy to see the progress, they are reminded about how much has still been lost here.
It will never return to normal. I mean, now that that we use the village for shopping, for restaurants, for everything. That's gone.
All right, and you can see our weather photos that we have that you have shared with us. Tina Anderson sharing this lovely evening view from Brookwood. And it looks like a good idea there, just taking a nap on the front porch, right?
Oh, and look at that. Kevin Helmholtz clouds. Love to see those.
Wow, what a catch.
Helmholtz clouds. But they're pretty cool. Just showing those little gravity waves in the atmosphere.
And this is a sunset. Beautiful picture there. Another sunset. This one's from Ryan Carty, I believe. Sunset in West Palm Beach, Florida.
Man.
Beautiful weather out there today, though.
Fresh off the
Absolutely
plane.
incredible. Listen, tomorrow we're going to be talking about another cold front, so be ready for another chill in the air. Might see a freeze this weekend during the morning.
That's not what I wanted to hear. I'm
Don't
sure y'all didn't want
plant.
to hear it either.
Don't plant just yet. Hold on.